welcome to our show Efauji Talks, an IESECCI initiative which promises to get inspiring stories and brilliant speakers on board each episode. I am Shavinder Kaur, the brand head of this show, and currently showcasing the spirit of womanhood of Choose the Challenge series. Our guest today is Mansi Rastogi. Hi, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Shavinder.
Great, great. So before we start our discussion, let me acquaint our viewers to our guest. She runs an agency called Rebrand Advisory that helps consultants, B2B businesses build and use their brands to shorten the cycle. She started the agency 13 years ago and decided not to have late nights and working, weekends and have a chill out time. And she was told she would fail because she wasn't doing what everyone else was doing. And that was 13 years ago, and she's still going very strong. She has recently been accepted into the United Nations Web Program for the entrepreneurship. She never followed the norm or career track the most people followed. I loved, reading all this when I was, thinking about you. She pursued her dream of formally learning design. So she quit to enroll in a design school when she was just 27 and paid education with a hefty fee, by freelancing. That's commendable and amazing, Mansi, I must say. मतलब जब ठान लिया तो करना है ना? That is what it appears to me. Very interesting. So let's start our discussion. My first obvious question is, why did you decide to go into business and not stay in a job?
Okay, so I was in a corporate job for about 5 or 6 years, and I started to realize that I didn't really enjoy the politics. So if anyone who has been in a corporate job or any kind of organization, you will always have multiple levels and you'll always have people who are playing politics and things like that. I was a workaholic, and for me it was a waste of time. so I always somehow didn't want to follow the norm no matter what I did. So I realized that while the security of a job was great, I don't think that path was meant for me, because it was much easier. I liked my own timings. I liked having my own rules to follow, things like that. So it became more and more, as I started to get away from the corporate field, I started to realize that there is a world beyond the 9 to 5, if that makes sense. So that's the reason why I said that once I had decided that, okay, I'm done. I do not want to be in the corporate field anymore. The only other alternative was freelancing or was business. And I think business was the only one that gave me scalability, like to be able to do more things and to be able to impact more people. So a lot of the things that are not mentioned inside my profile to you were things like I have actually been working with a lot of creatives and a lot of doing mentorship and coaching with people who are now at the stage where I was at. So that's where I'm at the moment.
So beautiful, absolutely. Because, at times I feel that if you feel that you are, being in a constrained environment and you're not able to, show your worth, just move out from that space. I always feel that way. That's wonderful. And अच्छा हुआ बहुत time पे पहले आपने decide किया. Somebody's loss was somebody else's gain.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So what made you break the rules and decide not to follow the norms?
I think I love that aspect of not being normal, if that makes sense. So what started to happen is that I realized that the rules that were being put, whether it was in terms of societal rules, or it was in terms of business rules, or it was in terms of what people thought success was supposed to be, they were all someone else's ideas, not
Correct.
mine. So every single time someone told me, like even something as simple as shadi kar lo, so at the age like of 21, 25, 27, when my other sort of friends were getting married, I was like too busy doing other things, so it just like, I think, also with my family background and the way that my mom was and my family was, this how supportive they were towards my dreams to become whoever I wanted to become. I was never questioned as to, I was always like nudged towards it, but never questioned, saying shadi kyun nahi kar rahe ho, that kind of thing. So I realized that following the norm is something that regular society puts on you, as opposed to doing something that you really want to, like under se, when there is that awaz of doing something, right? When you follow that, I think that changes the way that you look at the world. And that is what I wanted to do ever since I was a small child. I followed the rules. I always follow the rules, like I'm not a rule breaker, but I don't follow the norm. What people say success is not the same for me. So that
So
was
true. And I'm sure you must have had, you have your own mission and vision statements. So so you follow that, and why not? In the end, what I feel is it's always very important to be constructively busy.
yes.
You know, no matter how you do it, but where you reach, where you want to reach, definitely makes difference. So what have you learned on this journey of building your business?
So for me, I think there were two or three things that really stood out. There is that phrase that people keep saying, fake it till you make it. Have you heard of that? And I find that very inauthentic, because you can't fake it till you make it. But I did realize that while doing something, you can become it. So that was something that my entrepreneurial journey taught me, saying that you can't fake something that you're not. But
Yes.
if you keep continuously doing something again and again and again, you eventually become the person that you want to become. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. Second part was that problem solving is like the crux of being an entrepreneur. So it's not about making money. It's not about, because money comes as it is, right?
Yes.
It's not about making money. It's about making an impact, no matter
Correct.
how small or big that impact is. So for us, it was always about solving a problem. We were always solving a problem for our clients, whether it was the clients or it was people that we are interacting with. Very simple things, like even my team. I realized in the corporate setup, they always had this 9 to 5 job, and they always had like, you have to work weekends, you're on call 24/7. It doesn't matter. You're not supposed to have a family life. Things are changing slightly now, but when I was younger, that was not the situation. So I realized that I have to protect, there has to be a balance between what is work and what is your personal life, and you have to give space for both. Otherwise a person gets burnt out very fast, and we are in the creative field. So for me, I realized that giving that work life balance was very important, and that is a problem that I solved with my team. So today my team works only 5 days a week. They don't work beyond 7 o'clock.
So you're the best boss on face
I'm the
of
best
earth
boss
right
on the
now.
planet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. Everybody is like, wow, हमारा नेता कैसा हो, मानसी रस्तोगी जैसा हो. Absolutely. That's really nice. Moving on with the discussion, a very important thing is the personal branding. So, how it is important for your business or for anybody for that matter?
I think people shy away from putting their faces on a brand. They believe that मतलब company खड़ी कर दो, logo डाल दो, and you're done. But I think as people are starting, and if this is for anyone who's starting a business of any sort, if you're not willing to stand behind as the face of your business initially, at least in the beginning, uh, I think you lose out on a lot, because people are connected to people. Like today we are having this conversation, someone might see me and feel very connected to what I'm saying, and therefore check me out and check out my business and eventually become a client. So I think this one-on-one with understanding the person behind the brand is very important. So personal branding, in terms of, I'm not saying that tom about yourself, but at least show up as the face that is standing behind the brand. I think that's where personal branding really comes into. At least for me, it comes into the business.
That's a great takeaway you've given to our viewers, or especially the young entrepreneurs, because today it is all about branding.
Yes.
And why not brand yourself first. I absolutely agree to what you have said. So
Yeah.
indeed. So how did you deal with that I also read about it, that imposter syndrome and putting yourself at there. I was reading about your bio. That's when I thought I should ask this question to you.
Okay, so the first, I'm a very shy person by nature. I don't like the spotlight on me, and I think there are a lot of people who are introverts. Like I'm not an introvert, but what they call a hermit extrovert. That means I like to be in my own space. So when I started to do personal branding, when I started to show up as the face of my brand, because people know me, they know Mansi, and therefore they know the agency, right? At some point, when it grows enough, it might separate. But at this point, Mansi is the agency, right, for them. So when I started to show up as the person behind the brand, uh, that is the time the imposter syndrome started to set in, because there you always have someone who's higher than you, and you always have someone who's lower than you, right, in terms of knowledge, right? They have just started out. People who've just started out will be at the lower stage, and people who have been veterans will be at the higher stage.
Highest step.
And you are always looking up ahead, because you're looking at those people who will be ahead of you, and thinking, oh my god, how can I say this when I have such less experience, when I have such. So this is what imposter syndrome really is, right? And there was a very nice story someone told me, and I've forgotten who the name was. I think Neil Gaiman was this guy's name. He said that he was in a what do you call it, a party, where he decided went and met all these big guys, and he's a prolific writer himself, right? He met all these big guys, and he said that when I saw that, I was thinking, who am I to be here?
Who am I
And
to?
who am I to be here? Like, I don't
Okay.
deserve to be here. These people are such, like, big people in their own fields. They're scientists, they are, people who have been on the moon, things like that. So they're people who are much bigger than me. Who am I to be at this party with everybody else, being celebrated with everybody else? And the guy he was talking to was someone who, so everybody knows Neil Armstrong, who's the guy
Yes.
who walked on the moon. That guy looked around the room, and he's talking to Neil Gaiman and telling him, I don't, sometimes I look around the room and I wonder, who am I to be here?
Oh God.
So
What a beautiful lesson, actually.
yeah, so what I realized is, no matter where you are at what stage, right, you will always be able to impact someone in your life. And that, being an imposter, saying, who am I to be here, or who am I to say this, is you comparing yourself to someone who's further on their journey. So instead of looking ahead and saying that I shouldn't be comparing myself there, you actually see, who can I help? And I think that's what shifted that entire thing for me, as being like the imposter syndrome, and who am I? When I heard this story, that is the time I realized, oh my god, there are other people who need me as much as I need someone else.
Truly, Mansi, I absolutely relate to this. I'm being an educator for almost so many years. I started my career as a hotelier, all that. I always tell my colleagues or my subordinate, wherever you are,
Yeah.
make the difference.
Yeah.
Make the difference. Make sure that you are there. Your presence should be felt. And obviously that will be only felt if you do something for others. हम अपने लिए तो सब कुछ करते ही हैं. Do that.
Yeah.
That's very important. A small thing I would like to share, when my husband was commanding, so people started saying, तुमने बहुत फौज से ले लिया, अभी तुम्हारी turn है to give back. So of course, I'm not saying ki, be a philanthropist from the beginning of your life, but yeah, wherever you can do difference, must do that.
Yeah. Because even that small little one makes a difference to somebody.
True, and see, your thought of saying that मैं अपने employees को सिर्फ 5 day काम कराती हूँ, that itself is, I'm telling you, because if you're a business person,
Yeah.
you will feel कि why waste even 2 days? They should be even working that day. Saturday, Sunday भी काम करना चाहिए. So बहुत rare लोग होते हैं. I wish, Mansi, I would love to work under you, so that I'm not working.
So you're not you're not the only one. You won't believe it. A lot of my clients are big corporates. When I told them we don't work weekends, they're like, "Can we work with you?"
Yeah. I'm just telling you directly, not work with you, work under you, so that you know. Great. So that's beautiful to know that, and so I also feel that, when we talk about personal branding, and so what is your advice that you tell people to build their own brand, especially whether it's a business or personal platforms?
Yeah, so I mean, I always tell them that okay, so there is something, like a concept called making a brag bag. And what that means is like, everyone, and especially in India, I've seen this, because apne bare mein don't talk too much about yourself. That's not good,
Yes.
But I actually encourage people to write down the list of achievements that they have had, no matter how small, because we undermine the way that we look at ourselves. Like, the mirror that we see is not that mirror that is very good for our self-esteem, right? So I always tell them that create a brag bag for yourself, where you have bragging rights to say, I did this in my life, right? So whether it's a small achievement that you've got, or something that you've built along the way, even without realizing. And once you start building that, you start to realize that there is something about your personal brand that will start to come out through that. So values will start coming out. Like, for example, humility could be one value, authenticity could be another value, things like that. So things start coming out about you, and the things that come most naturally to you, lean into that more. So for me, what comes most naturally is asking questions to people. For me, what comes most naturally is deep thinking. So when I lean into that, I start to realize that other people respond to me in the same way. So that's what I would talk about when I'm saying personal branding. I'm not saying, be salesy about your business and things like that. What you're trying to build is likability factor, relatability factor with someone else. So the moment you start sharing your stories that you've written in the bag, or you start sharing those parts of you that nobody else really understands, you start to realize there are other people exactly like you, or people start to see themselves in you, and they fall in love with that part of you that they see themselves in, so that's exactly where the real crux of personal branding actually is. It's not about talking big about yourself.
That's very nice and very important thing that my takeaway from the interview today is, we all must have a brag bag, because we at times really underestimate ourselves, that we can't do this and we are not capable, and rather we are capable of doing many things. At least once we write that, we know that we have that kind of affirmation for ourselves,
Yeah.
Keep-
I'll tell you one more small little thing that someone can do. No matter, so I started doing this recently, fairly recently, about a year ago. Anything anyone has said nice about me, I take a screenshot and I keep that screenshot only for myself.
Beautiful.
So if someone has said, "Oh, thank you so much for helping me," I take a screenshot of that, and so the days when I'm feeling like it's not worth it, whatever I'm doing is not is useless, things like that, because those things do come into your mind. I go and open that. It's like a Google document that I've got. I go open that and just read through everything.
That's so motivating, especially at this challenging time, that you are able to make difference in others' life, and when you are in your low esteems, it's so good to. Mansi, I'm going to take all these takeaways. I always feel ups and downs, emotional trauma that we all undergo, and wonderful. That's very nice. So, what is Mansi doing when she's not working?
Reading books.
Okay.
Reading books. I mean, for me, I think I'm missing going out into nature a lot. So I have a spiritual side of me, which is when I go into like the north side, where I go into the Himalayas and with my spiritual teacher, and I'm doing things like that. But because of the last 2 years of not being able to get out of the house, I think that's what I'm missing. But essentially, yeah, I'm mostly reading books, spending time with family. I think that is what has started to because a lot of times we are on the screen like this all day long, you know,
True.
and there's a lot of screen fatigue that has started to happen.
And I guess reading is a very good stress buster, especially when and lockdown has given us enough time to pursue our
Yeah.
hobbies and passions. Yeah. So we've almost come to the end of the conversation. But before I wrap up, I really want to know what's the next for you, and what are what are your future plans,
Yeah.
and how
So,
can and where do we reach you?
right.
If somebody has to find you, where can they reach out of
Okay, so I mean, people can find me on social. I'm there on most social channels. I'm not as active as I should be, but I am there. So on Instagram, I'm Mansi Rastogi.
Okay.
On LinkedIn, I'm Mansi Rastogi. So basically, if you just search for me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, wherever, Mansi Rastogi or Mansi Rastogi, you'll find me. Um, or you can like reach out to me through my agency, which is rebrandadvisory.com. In terms of what we are doing next, so I am partnering with someone now to actually help other entrepreneurs like me, the creative entrepreneurs who are in this field, who want to start businesses in the creative field like photography, design, things like that. And I'm creating a podcast and a channel for them, where they can come in and get entrepreneurship advice and things like this, like speak about a lot of the things that other people don't talk about when in the journey of entrepreneurship. Because everyone can teach you the skills, no one can teach you how to be an entrepreneur. You know, so
True, true.
that's what we are where we're going. So I think keep a lookout on that and friend me, DM me, whatever. I am always available and I always respond to almost everyone who reaches out to me.
That's so nice, Mansi. I wish I could continue the conversation and hear and take more, valuable suggestions and advices.
Thank you
But
so
thank
much.
you so much for being part of this interesting Women Special series. Choose to challenge. Absolutely, this word, a series is, I think, made for you. Choose to challenge. Break the rules. Not break the rules, but not follow the rule.
Not follow the norm.
Not follow the norms, but do that bit that you want to do. I want to say that we don't grow when things are easy. We grow
Yes.
when we face challenges.
Yes,
So
that's
that's
absolutely true. Thank you so much, Shavindra, for having me. This was super fun. And
yeah, indeed.
yeah,
So great. So if you wish to share your inspiring stories, please contact me at shavi@efaujitalks.com. I thank all our viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel Efauji Talks. And don't forget to put your views on this special episode with Mansi Rastogi. For more interesting stories, please stay tuned. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Jai Hind.